heroes are alive with the sound of the running tears of Zia Yusuf. You know that geezer used to be chairman of the Reform Party, one who had no political experience, not that you need any, and just controlled the whole thing. I will be talking about that, and before I do, I am actually going to show you this because I think it's really important that everyone see what I'm on about. I've gone slightly early. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We are at 7,999,000. So we're 10 away from going over the 8,000 on this channel. We've got 500 on the other channel. Hit the like button, really important, and don't forget to share. And shall I wait until 8 o'clock because everyone's tuning in? I'm already getting messages saying this is fantastic. What's going on there? They're still conning people. And I just want to make sure I've got this clear for everyone. I've got 3 minutes before we actually go live, so I'll carry on. Don't forget that Reform UK, I have said for a very long time, especially after July the 4th, that we are going to see another election, and another election pretty quick. All right, just to make sure everyone understands that. We're not going to go the full 5 years. Something is going on in the background. I don't know if you just saw, but Elon Musk has just presented himself as an anti-debt person and said, who else thinks there needs to be another political party completely separate from and actually represent the 80% of Americans, and not keep allowing all this stuff to happen. Well, it looks like Elon Musk is serious about that in America, and he's certainly got the money to do it. And it looks like people are playing up in the background. Is there a synergy to that with Britain? Very much so, right? So I just want everyone to understand that. Farage is conning people. When Farage goes, then I might vote for them, John Aspinall. Farage, as you fully are aware of this, I believe Farage is Benedict Arnold. Anyone who puts the union before the nation states, and that's exactly what Lincoln did in America, right? Everyone tells you that the Civil War, was about slavery. That is not true. Everything you have been told is a lie, right? And including that subject, Lincoln was in cahoots with Karl Marx. Lincoln, his statue was on a platform in 1938, I believe, in Chicago, where the Communist Party of the United States of America had 3 statues on there that they was paying homage to. One was Joseph Stalin, one was Vladimir Lenin, and the other was Abraham Lincoln. Why did they do that? Well, again, the war, the Civil War, was about the southern states saying, we have a constitution, we have a good constitution, and our states and our families and our home, we don't want to be part of your federal, Romanized political union. And it was a replica of the British Union. It's being dismantled as we speak, but some people are not going far enough. And I think people like Elon Musk know that, right? So who is it you need to trust? Well, again, it is difficult, and I get that, right? So again, everyone out there tuning in as we speak, hit the like button, because this is the full English show, which is hated by the British. They attack it in the ether. We've got 28 likes so far. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us. We're trying to tick over to the 8,000 subscribers. When we get to 10,000, all sorts of things start happening on Rumble, which is really positive, because we've never give up with Rumble, even though they annoy me sometimes. And I just want to make sure everyone understands this. Share this. So if you click on the button, on the repost button, that actually sends me a message that you've reposted this. So I want people to understand that and know exactly what's going on. I'll make sure I've got some water here, which I have, and I'll be drinking this. So I'm on my fast. My eyes are a bit blurry. And if I drink that too quick, I'll probably end up jumping up and shooting to the loo, or being sick or something. But this is day 2 of my fast, so remember that for everyone who's watching. And I'm going to now get on with something else that I want everyone to see. So I'm going to share this. Oh, it's already shared. Someone made a meme, right? And it was taken from this video image that was on there, right? So again, Basil the Great, breaking Reform chairman Zia Yusuf says it was dumb to ask the PM if we should ban the burqa, as it isn't Reform Party policy. The Reform civil war continues. Is Zia Yusuf correct? Right. So again, you've got who he's called dumb. Right. If anyone wants to retweet this, please go out there and retweet it. I will put it out there for you because I think it's an important video for everyone to share on social media. But this image was taken from that. So you've got who he has called dumb, Sarah Palin, and then of course you've got Zia Yusuf. I have to keep looking at my screen because it's not a very English name. And you've got dumber, right? And of course you've got the hijab. Our brilliant Reform candidate. Let's just have a look. Now, in April 27th, please vote for Sarah Palin and Runcorn on the 1st of May. And I'll get some other questions up there in a couple of seconds. But if anyone wants to see this, tell me if you get a 5x5, if you can see and hear it. Just listen or even read what it says on the screen.
We're in Pallasfield in Runcorn with Sarah Palin, our brilliant Reform candidate. Sarah, we've had a great response on the doorstep, haven't we?
We have. You know, so many people feel really let down by this Labour government. Just spoken to a lovely lady who has just become a pensioner. She'd lost her winter fuel allowance. She feels really let down. She's even having to borrow money from her grandson to make ends meet. So household bills, real problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And that lady, it was quite difficult to hear that story because she's voted Labour her whole life. Yep. And she said she voted Labour last summer, and the sense of betrayal, I think, for pensioners in the area is palpable, isn't it?
It really comes through. People want now a party that they can vote for which is going to provide hope for the future and change. They really want something different. So the only way to get that is to vote Reform on the 1st of May.
We're in
And what you got was a bunch of liars, cheaters, and people conning the public, basically. Did you see the fake emotion when he spoke about the pensioners? Folk, that's all fake, right? We're out there standing up for pensioners and disabled people. We're standing up literally for the people that can't stand for themselves. And he gives it the fake emotion and the bullshit, right? He's a banker. He's been involved with them circles all of his working life. He's one of the, I don't like to call them privileged, but parasite class of the banking industry, right? The people that really control the strings. And again, you've got Sarah Patchin. Now, do you think it's anything to do with, could it be that he was asked to give, because he was at the count all night, maybe he's been asked to give evidence, seeing as that Reform have not responded. We'll have to wait and see what's actually going to happen, right? So I want everyone to understand there's some strange things going on. Rupert Lowe has put some wonderful pictures out, but I'm going to show that again, just to pause it where I need to pause it.
We're in Palacefield in Runcorn with Sarah Patchin, our brilliant Reform.
Our brilliant. So previously, it sent a tweet out saying that was dumb, right? Which is why the meme said that. Really? That's not what you said on the doorstep.
Candidate. Sarah, we've had a great response on the doorstep, haven't we?
We have. You know, so many people feel really let down by this Labour government. Just spoken to a lovely lady who has just become a pensioner. She'd lost her winter fuel allowance. She feels really let down. She's even having to borrow money from her grandson to make ends meet. So household bills, real problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And that lady, it was quite difficult to hear that story.
That fake emotion. That's a narcissistic person, just as narcissistic as Nigel Farage. And let me just make sure I tell everyone who's watching this, especially the Scousers out there, Sarah Patchin, if that pensioner lady had come up before her for any form of issues with council tax, debt, bailiffs, or anything, I can tell you now, she would have been whacking her with fines and all sorts, because she is establishment, right? So just to make sure you've got that. Can you hear? Can everyone hear me? Give me a 5B5 if you can hear, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something else slightly. I don't want to Shall I you don't forget, hit the like button, whack it out there. Let's see how many we got on there at the moment. at 72. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's really important. And crucially, don't forget to share the show. So what I was talking about, I mean, tomorrow night I am going to pop down to Devon. I don't know what that is. Let me have a look. I can't see them because I'm not on Facebook. But what I could do is put that up there for a second and see if something comes up. I don't think anything's going to come up on there. Parliamentarian latest reform maiden speech blows John Milton utterly ruled by British government deliberately acting in the interests of others. When was the maiden speech? Was that today? No, 3 days ago. That was days ago, the maiden speech. Let me make sure I put that on there and go from there. I'm seeing some funny things come from it at the moment. Right. Let me have a look. Just to let the people know, if they do not send me any naked pictures or anything like that, right? Because it puts me off. Someone else did that to me once when I was doing a show. Let me just have a quick look. Zia Yusuf, Weth Plant in Reform. I think he's been there a long time. And there is something seriously, there's something going on in the background. There's also something going on in America. I do want to make sure I'm clear on this, right? None of this is easy. Trying to think it through strategically. If you're out of the loop for a day with what's going on, you have to catch up. That's how speedily things. Back for England, 56, my favourite person. You're in there, are you? Hi, Chutney. You can't reform the British. No, you can't reform the British. In fact, that is such a good statement. I'm going to pin it. Chuck money, you can't reform the British. Nope, exactly. They are what they are, and they are literally funny. Oh, all right. Someone's making me laugh. Middlesex man, yes, her maiden speech was not Cromwellian, by a long mark. Well, I won't play it then. Shared, Minnie Mouse, shared GoFundMe to Nextdoor and LinkedIn. Well done, thank you very much. Hi, Chuck Money and Deanne. How many other people are in there? Just come up there and have a look. I'm going to take that off the screen for a second. So obviously there's quite a bit going on. Did anyone see the 412 channel last night? I love being on that channel. And afterwards, Adele said to me, he said, I've been working really hard. I felt really terrible. I didn't have the energy for the show. He said, I've got to tell you something, DD. You energise me. He said, when I speak to you and you come on my show, I know that we are winning just because I've met someone like you. And it ain't just me, it's the audience. He sees the audience figures go up. He sees the people cheering us on, and it energises people. And people need to understand you're not on your own, right? I know we've got loads and loads of people out there still got to wake up. We're not interested in them people, right? We strategise, we use our own tactics, and we keep pushing forward, and we never surrender, right? That's the most key point ever, right? As long as you understand that. So I'm getting people. Can I send you videos instead of pictures? Then yeah, you can if you want. I had a really funny conversation earlier. I'm just leaving Turberry Woods. I'll watch when I get home. I don't know what that's about. So there's something else there. Musk has said Trump is in the Epstein file. Ooh, I don't know. So again, I don't want to put things on here if they're not true, right? But I do know that Elon Musk doesn't like anything noncy, right? Anything noncy, he won't have it. He doesn't like his father. He fell out with his father because his father, does everyone know that? And this is not a disparagement of Elon Musk. It's actually a positive towards him. His father, who's something like 70, started having I believe, some sort of relationship with his stepdaughter, who was 15 at the time, and started showing a sexual interest in her. Married her at 30, and I think they've had 2 kids since then. And Elon Musk has just said, I don't want nothing to do with you. Right? So when you see his father on GB News, and GB News is anchored and financed by, I think, Fear and maybe Panadol or whatever it's called, I don't know. You'll all know the names of them. But people do need to know. There's too many people out there that think this is all conspiracy theory stuff. It isn't, right? One of the reasons why Q was there was to start feeding this into the mainstream. And when I say the mainstream, I mean start to wake the people who would listen, who are open-minded. You know, there's people out there, right? You know, there's some people out there that, you know, want to meet someone and they turn around and the first question they ask is, are you jabbed? Right? And then the other person, well, say, what are you, one of them conspiracy theories? You ain't coming near me, right? Good on you, right? Good on everyone who's done that. We resisted a multi-billion-dollar conspiracy to inject us with a bioweapon, and we resisted it. Some took one jab, I get that, and you can resist it, right? You can detox yourself, etc. Some people have not been so lucky. Myocarditis, etc. Strokes, the clots, the blood clots, all of those things. But I'm proud of every single one of you that told them to Foxtrot Oscar. But again, let's get back to the main subject. Zia Yusuf, a very English name, I must look at that, right? He's resigned. We don't know what's going on in the background. I do know that Rupert Lowe is still pursuing legal action against all 3 of them. So Lee Anderson's no good, right? Nigel Farage and Zia Yusuf. But like I said to everyone, he was at the camp at Runcorn and Helsby. We await the response to see if he's going to give a witness statement, right? And there's potential that you're going to see the real reform, right? Because what they're actually saying to me, people, is we don't care if the election system has been cheated or not, as long as we get a returned candidate. And that's not the way it works, right? Even if she won, because it's what you've got is these establishment figures applauding what they've done to us. Pensioners, disabled, the right to self-determination as a principle, no usury, and running the country in the way it should be, which is we the people. And what you're seeing is reform trying to get out of a few things. There are some other things that I've gone through today, which I'm not going to release yet, but I'll probably, on June the 13th, you will see some submissions in the directions hearing from me. And what they're going to see is someone who does understand the law, that is not a free man of the land, that isn't doing all this "I'm a living man" nonsense, right? That is actually presenting not only entrenched constitutional common law rights and the private right to injury, crucially important, but also the criminal offences that the Royal Mail and therefore Emma Gilthorpe is responsible for. And it's not just one, there's quite a few, right? There's some other issues that are going to be raised at the pre-trial hearing. And one of them is that the Royal Mail should not have anywhere on its logos, on its vans, on its uniforms, anywhere, the royal crest, because that's what's known as a royal warrant, and they lost their royal warrant as a corporation in 2014, I believe, right? Someone can check that for me if they want. You can go on to the London Gazette and you can actually type in warrants and you can look and see if there's any Royal Mail. It's actually completely owned now by an external holding group of foreigners. So the Royal Mail is now a foreign corporation. That's quite funny. I'm looking at my screen as I'm talking. I'm going to have to get that one off my screen. Hang on a minute. Oh, there you go. Who's that? Well, the next James Bond will be made to satisfy the woke brigade. Bond will start off as a man and will transgender to a woman. The film will be called Cockpussy. Coctopussy. I can't show any of that in case I dox a person. But there you go. That's the information that's up there. Right. Middlesex. Goonamum. What was happening in May? What does that mean? Any other questions on that? And I'll move on to the next subject. Public authorities fraud error recovery bill is really bad. I do want to say this to people. There's another guy that I follow on Twitter who used to be a lawyer. He's now a journalist. He's actually gone through all of the new laws that are putting through, and I've never seen anything like it. If you want to see full Comanche communist state, that is what they're putting through that parliament, and that is not what the people want. That isn't exactly, the people are rejecting that authoritarian government, and people need to know that. Let me have a quick look on there. Goonamum, Staffordron. Interesting, wasn't it? I told them we English are occupied by email. Going to look them in the corner. Herican. Have you spoken about Yusuf? Yeah. I just spoke about Yusuf. Do you want me to speak about him again? Have you missed it? You mean you didn't tune in at 8 o'clock? I did go up early, but not majorly. And if the camera goes off or plays up or anything like that, I'll let her do something else. Stephen Norman, any update on Charlie Staples? No, but I am going to be working on his next week as we go towards it. But he is cool. I've got to work out the timings, but I'm gonna be in the High Court all day by the looks of it. And they definitely don't like me. We're getting the responses in that and you can tell, right? They don't like it. They all want to deal with one of their own. Well, they ain't got one of their own. They've got us, right? But I am going to show you something else. I'm going to have to see where it's come up. Let me have a look. How many images have I got here? There's a few images. Hopefully they're going to be going up on our screens. I'm not sure if that's the one. Or did he do another one? I think he did another one. I love the way he does his work, though. Is it gone? Right, this one. I'm going to show you this one. Let me, just to make sure everyone gets it. So it's on our website. You can go to either the English Constitution Society website to see this, or you can go to. Let me have a quick look. You can go to. And let me see if I can actually make that come up a bit bigger. Oh, a bit too big. A bit bigger than 2 inches. ECS, English Constitution Society, Constitutional Common Law Seminar. Everyone welcome. Discover your inalienable and constitutional rights, what they are, why they matter, and how the state is working to take them away. Find out what you can do to protect your freedoms before it's too late. Right? 28th of June, 2025. We've bought the tickets, so we've got to try and get this out there as much as possible on Facebook, Telegram, and especially on the Northern Irish side. Again, this is a non-political element, right? 2 o'clock until 8:30. Main speaker, Graham Moore, English constitutional expert, more than 30 years experience, a registered paralegal, founding member of the English Constitution Society, with guest speakers Charlie Staple and Duncan Kershaw. And then you've got Magherry Community Hall, 111 Magherry Road, BT 71 6PA. The flag in the background, by the way, is the independence flag of Northern Ireland, right? So again, Charlie Staples will be talking on his ongoing legal battle, how he was beaten, suffocated, tortured by the police, and this is during the lockdowns. Charged but found not guilty in Southwark Court. Slightly wrong on that, but never mind. Now pursuing a private right injury using the common law. Exactly right. Duncan Kershaw. Duncan will be speaking about the potential harm and adverse reactions associated with Wi-Fi and 5G exposure for children in our schools. He will also offer practical advice on how to reduce these risks. All right, so that's going to be a good subject. Tickets, £20, includes refreshments. Self-determination, I'm not sure if you can see that, is the number one human right. And across the bottom there, we're actually showing people it's about England, Scotland, Northern Ireland as an independent nation, Wales as an independent nation, Cornwall as an independent nation, and Ireland, Southern Ireland, as an independent nation. Southern Ireland in 1937 had its constitution rewritten. Prior to that, it was English. They relied on the Magna Carta and the English Bill of Rights, etc. But it was rewritten by the Fabian Society and Sinn Féin. And now you've seen what they're actually doing. And the British oligarch have tried to disengage Northern Ireland from the British Union. So what we're going to do is tell the Northern Irish, there is another option for you, similar to the Isle of Man, or the same as the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man have got 80,000 inhabitants. They wasn't even in the European Union. And by the way, the Irish Sea isn't the Irish Sea, it's the St George's Channel, just to make sure you all understand that, right? So there's that one. Everyone should help get that promoted because you're the people promoting it, right? Let me just make sure I hit the right one again here. There it is. So this one, and then I'm going to go back and see if I can find the other one. This one, again, English Common Law Seminar. Discover your inalienable constitutional rights, what they are, where they are. Russell Park Working Man's Club. That's on the 28th of July, 6:30 p.m. I think that's the right time, but I'll be in there for a beer if it's not. Main speaker, an English constitutional expert, more than 10 years experience. So again, the same imagery. We've got a very professional kit out there we're going to do. Is this the same one? I think this is the slightly altered one, which is so people can see it. So we need these sent out to people. I do need to be able to copy this to my phone and then send it to the lady. Either do it like that, or I can't remember how I did it now, but I need to email her and just give her this so she understands what it is. Is that it? I think that is it on that one. Let me go back and then I'll show you where I'm going tomorrow. But I'll have to transfer the image. So how can I transfer that image? Let me have a quick look. I think it's that one. All right, copy, or let's see if I can put this in the image folder. Let me have a look. Floating Spirit, Graham. It's going to be on Zoom or something. Pay a fee, get a code to attend. It's in Ireland, isn't it? I don't know. I'm going to put that in there in a minute. Put this on there. Send that image in there. See if I can bring that image up on the screen. And I will show you what it is we are looking at, so everyone can see it. Hopefully you can all see it on the screen. This is where I'm going tomorrow evening. I'm not doing a seminar, but I'm going to listen to this guy, right? Meeting of minds, an evening with friends and Guy Anderson, Friday the 6th of June at 7 p.m, right? So that's where I'm going tomorrow night. So I've got a fairly long drive tomorrow. Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Kids. And there's a lot of information on there about who these different people are. And there is something going on with this, without any doubts whatsoever. There's different people talking about it, and there's someone who's going to be coming on the show, or I'll be on a show having a discussion with him, who is an intelligence expert from the United States of America. He was in intelligence for something like 40 years. And he says that there are another group of people, right, that are the string pullers, and he starts to talk about that. Guy Anderson at the Golden Lion Tap, which is a pub, and it's a private meeting room, and it's in, let me think where it's in. It's in Devon, right? But I need to go and find out exactly where it was, because that information is not in there. But you would have to look that up. The Golden Lion Tap, right? Let me come off of that screen and see if I can go and find it for you. What I don't want to do is dox a person. Let me see if I can go and find it, and I will read you out the postcode. The postcode is, let me have a look. Where's the pub? I'm there. Let me have a look. So I said, no. So what I was saying is, no, I need this. Now I've got to try and find the bloody thing. Where is it? Right. So the postcode is a place called The Square, Barnstaple. Right. So it's not near Exeter. It's the other way. EX32 8LS. So if there's anyone that wants to come down, I'll say this to you, right? It's not a seminar for me. If you're going there to watch and listen to him, right? I'm on a fast. I will be drinking water and not eating, right? So, but if you just want, if you want to talk to the fella, whatever. If you wanted to have a chat with me, chat. But do me a favour. Try and stop with the council tax stuff, because there's another way of doing that. If you want me to come and talk to people about that, I will. But it isn't the way that we're doing that. Let me just go and see if this person has put it up there. And they have, I believe. Let me put it on there. It's the Golden Lion Tap. It's on Google. Let me see if I can bring a... So what I don't want to do is hit a Google thing and it all goes pear-shaped. It's a boozer in Barnstaple. Right, so let me see if I can bring that up on the screen here. And then I'll cover again with a story. I have to keep drinking. That's the Essential 90, by the way. There it is there. Face of the tap, TripAdvisor. Where's the actual map? See if I can find it. So if there's anyone looking there, there is the Boozer. So it looks like there's a square. It's a really old pub. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Right. They've got some funny old names for things out there. Right. Golden Lion Tap. It's on the square. And that is where it is. So everyone wants to go along to that. Let's see if I can actually pull it up as an image. Hopefully I can, and there's nothing. What I'm always worried about is doxing people with this. I think it is. Is that the booze? Oh, there's a boozer there. Right. So that's what it looks like. If anyone wants to know where it is, I've got to find somewhere to park by the looks of it. But I'll be there. So that's in Devon, right? And I can tell everyone now, right? You already know my feelings on Devon. I love Devon, and I love the people of Devon. I love the people who have moved to Devon, right? Because they are invariably proper English. They're not all woke yet, they're not all waking up, right? But they're certainly getting there. English and riding loud and proud, and rightly so. Taffy Pat. People are definitely. So someone asked me the other day, and I want you all to understand this. They said, do you think what we're doing is working? I said, have you looked at any of the protests lately? And they went, yeah. And I said, what do you see? Do you see English flags or British flags? And they said, no, we're seeing more and more English flags. I said, because people are waking up. And it's not just the English flags. Like I showed you them leaflets. It's the English flag, the Scottish flag, the Welsh flag. Listen, I love Welsh, right? I love Welsh people. If they've got their own strange language, but it's their culture, it's their language, I ain't got a problem with it, right? I ain't got a problem with the Welsh. I'm telling you now, right? And I would be just as upset if people from London or major cities were selling their properties and moving into Wales and buying all the properties up, and they haven't got any industry, they haven't got any jobs, and their own people being displaced predominantly by the white English, right? And also, obviously, by Islam and the extreme left. And the extreme left, the communists, are using that as a weapon. And it is the union system that has allowed that to happen. And the same goes for Cornwall. I had a conversation tonight, and I've had a conversation with someone previously, and it is funny, because that person lived in Manchester and wanted to go and live in Cornwall. I said, why do you want to live in Cornwall? They fucking hate the English, right? And she went, no, they're all right and all that. You just stay in your house and you're like, why do you want to go? Why do you want to do that? But I do understand how people feel about that, right? I get it. More people, even Scotland, but Scotland is a different kettle of fish because it's different. It is Roman law jurisdiction. If you had to ask me the question, I would say the attacks on England are, I would say that the base for unionism is Scotland. If you had to ask me the question, and that's not having a go at non-Wethdo Scottish people, and they are operating under a communist Marxist regime in Scotland, and everyone can see that. The SNP are not who they say they are, a bit like Reform, right? And I can tell you now, the people who vote for the SNP, will not vote for Reform. In fact, true independence loyalists, right, would vote for us. In fact, we could even be standing in Scotland, right? And there's certain things that's going through the pipeline now. I'm telling you now, people are going to be aware of who and what we are, and we're not Mr. Nasties. We're the only ones that support the right of self-determination, which is an international human right. And the only way you can de-establish globalism is to return to nationism, not nationalism, not socialism, right? Nationism, where you love and respect your own nation again and your people. And again, there is a big difference between a dominion, an English dominion, which is an independent part of the Commonwealth area, and a colony, right? Because once the British became the British, they imposed their rule on the colony, on the dominions, and became colonies. And that's why the Americans rose up. And they didn't rise up against the English. They were standing up and they said, we want the same rights as an Englishman. So when you understand history, it all makes sense, right? But we are not the bad guys. They fear us. As I spoke to Adele last night, 412, he said, as an American, for them to cheat in elections and to try and keep you down, they fear you. There's no other reason why they would risk showing the corruption in elections to keep you down. There is something that they are terrified of about what it is that you have to say. And one, it is in the English rising. Don't forget 2011 census, right? 32.4 million people signed that sentence and said English only national identity, right? And again, nowhere in the English constitution does it mention race, right? In fact, the only, as far as I'm aware, the only constitution in the world that mentions race is Liberia, right, in Africa, and it categorically states you cannot be a citizen of Liberia unless you are a Negro, right? So very racial indeed. We've never said that, but what we do say in the English constitution, or did say, with the Act of Settlement, 1701, was quite simple. You can only be a member of Parliament. You can only be in our military or a position of profit from the Crown or otherwise if you were born of English parents, plural, right? Now that included Scottish, and it included the Irish, and it included the Welsh, right? So I haven't got a problem with that, but there are things you need to look at. Let me see if this is coming up. What's that one? Something mad is coming up. I can't play that, but I'm sure something strange is on there. But I will go through a couple of other little bits as we talk. Let me see if I can see what this says before I do anything else. Oh, fuck, my camera's gone off. It's really annoying. I think... yeah, they're still playing it up. I don't know whether it's... I can't see why I would have to reload anything, but how long did I go for? Am I back up? Can you see me again now? England for the English is out there. Let me have a quick look. And Juicy, here he is. Woohoo! Yeah, I'm back again. Hopefully I didn't go off for long. If it goes off again, I'll probably end the show because there's something going on. I don't know what it is. I can't get into that. It won't let me into it. But there you go. But everyone should be aware that Zia Yusuf has resigned. Was he asked to give evidence at the Runcorn and Helsby trial? ? Right. There's lots of little things going on in the background that everyone needs to understand. Right. And we ain't messing about with it. I've just seen something else quite funny. Oh, God blimey. I am seeing some funny things on there. Right. So, QQQQ, Floating Spirit, Graham is on Zoom. I don't know exactly what that is. So again, if anyone wants to go to any of them events, they're on there. Don't forget the one tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. I might do a little live video before the event or during the event or after the event just to say where I am and what I'm doing. That's it, really. But I ain't going to do a big, long one tonight because I am trying to recover some stuff. Right, that's it. So I'm going to say good night, God bless. Is that all fine with you? And don't forget, right, we are winning. And don't forget, the Constitution is the solution. Trust me when I say this, right? You are the greatest audience out there, right? I don't do this on my own. I do it with you. And every single one of you who actually a volunteer, a sponsor, helping us with the money, helping us with social media, you are all highly respected, right? We can beat them and they got billions. Remember that, because we're clever. We're the working class and they are the ruling classes and we've always run. That's it. Good night. God bless.